Hello, and welcome to the Superliminal Developer Commentary. I'm Albert, Game Director of Superliminal. Myself and the rest of the team will be popping up every now and then as you play. With subtitles open, you can see who is talking and what their role on the game is.
Our patent-pending Somnosculpt technology provides safe and effective dream therapy while you rest in the comfort of our flagship clinic. Located right next to the secondary overflow parking lot at the University Medical Centre. Somnosculpt, we'll make your dreams come true.
Hi, my name's Chris. I was the producer and designer on Superliminal.
Hi, this is Will O'Neill, and I was the writer on Superliminal.
Okay, so that very beginning of Superliminal is actually one of the last parts we finished. Throughout development, we created so many different introductions to the game. Not all of them were cutscenes, like that one, but we ended up feeling that that in-game video sequence offered a really smooth on-ramp that let us set the framework for what's to come. By keeping it grounded in the world, rather than just a video, we felt it to be a good way to get you situated in the game and aware of what's up.
So, when I wrote the opening line of, "Are you filled with feelings of self-doubt?" at the beginning of the game, I was definitely envisioning a player immediately, unconsciously responding with yes. And of course, the purpose of that is to sort of pull you into the idea that you're not playing a character in the game, that it's you inside this experience. And of course, making it clear that the clinic itself is not necessarily the safest or most prestigious place to get treated creates an immediate tension, especially when the very first thing you do in the game is accidentally sign away all of your rights.
Yeah. On the smooth experience, well, I like this. How to call it? This 3D is not a video baked, because that will be better passing the years. Because I remember that lots of games in the past, in the 2000, that had videos. The game can be increased in resolution, but the video cannot. So the switch is very, very harsh nowadays. So by making it in game, at least this transition is actually smooth, and it will be well preserved when we are into the 4K, 8K, I don't know, 300 frames per second, whatever becomes in the future, it will still look at least identical as the inner game. This, yeah, I liked it, but I would like to see the contents. I guess. I know that I sang something, but I didn't think much about that. So, yeah. Yes, the company looked shady, basically from the name of the company. And yeah, this is the practice area when you can, it says grab, oh, that's cool. It says grab and you can do this and test around stuff. So you make them bigger or make them smaller. Yeah. The way you make them bigger, if anyone is thinking about this, is basically it will fill the available space to match this perspective. So if you put it in here, it will be as big as possible, so it matches the space. So the farther you look, the bigger it becomes. I'll make it small again. So in the same sense, if you want to make it bigger, quicker, the closer you look into it, for example, if it is in the table, and you can look into it very closely, so it's big on the screen, then this will become bigger. Once it's bigger, you can even get even closer to it and make it even bigger. That's the main idea. So to make it big, start close up and move away and put it in a place where it fits as big as possible. To make it smaller is the reverse. Just put it in a place where it cannot fit with that size. You can see even that it shrinks in here. So basically you start as far as possible. For example, I could leave it in here and pick it from here, and then leave it as close as possible, and then it makes it very small. So that's the idea. Okay, that's a commentary here. I didn't see any of those before. Let me check. Because I thought I saw something before, but I think it was in the introduction. Okay, so I guess that you can click here.
A lot of people ask about how the resizing mechanic works. The concepts are actually quite easy. To keep an object looking the same, assume if we move the object twice as far away, it just needs to be twice as big. It's all proportional. Interestingly enough, this also works no matter what field of view you use. The hard part of this mechanic isn't the actual resizing. It's trying to figure out where the object needs to be. To do this, you need to test a weirdly shaped object with a weirdly shaped background, and try to find the right ratio for the object to be big enough to not touch anything, while keeping everything accurate and optimized.
Yes. That's because we are using rectilinear projection. That means that it keeps all the lines straight, which is the projection that all games uses and most camera uses. So exception will be fisheye lens and so on, where this trick might or might not work exactly as well in a different projection. I'm not that sure, but in rectilinear, yes. It's twice as big or twice as far, yeah. And yes, the problem is also the player experiences this because the engine needs to place the object in a place where it doesn't touch anything. So for example, if I try to put it cutting the table here, now the object will be smaller. But if I put it in here, the object will be bigger. So the reason is that the engine needs to figure out what is the maximum size of the object fits into this perspective. And it can be seen by the shadow. The shadow gives it away because it's calculating it in real time. So you can see that here has one size, and now it's becoming smaller and smaller. That's big, that's small. Yeah, it gives a bit of trouble to the player, this kind of mechanic, because of the collision system. So empty rooms work quite well. What I found here when I came here is the lack of saying that press space to jump. So if I go back quickly to the starting point, oh no, it's missing already because it wasn't here. It wasn't here before it opened. It doesn't say press space to jump. It says W, ASD to move around. So yeah, let's start thinking like, how I move from here? Yeah, press space.
Terms of service accepted. Congratulations on falling asleep.
Yeah.
Welcome to Somnasculpt. Your progress may be monitored by qualified specialists. This orientation will adapt you to eyelids, our interactive, lucid induction dream state in which you retain full consciousness and control.
Okay, let's see.
Hey, this is Matt. I did the music and sound. This very first jazz piece in the game is called I Wonder, and if it sounds at all familiar to you, that's because you just heard its melody and chord progression in the Somnasculpt TV jingle back at the start of the game, which I called Smooth Wonder.
Yeah, somewhat I like the music of on the game. I like that it's not copyrighted, that we can stream it. So, very good job doing this and not externalizing it. That's amazing. Let's make things smaller and so on. Hiding things. Hello, Lucy! Making things bigger and smaller and so on, and hiding them, hiding the exit doors. That's clever. That's clever. I think... Let's see. Roughly the same size, like that. Prefer the solution. Yeah. Clipping is not the best in the game. Now I can... Yeah. Oh, this portal thing, this fizzer. This game reminds me a lot on Portal. Has a lot of similar mechanics on Portal. So it changes, you can see that changes. Whenever I grab the object, changes the fizzer, and you cannot go through. And the object cannot pass the fizzer. So that's cool. Yeah, this is the first puzzle room. This one, what I didn't like is that the cube is on the left. They should have placed the cube a bit more to the right, because the player, like, doesn't... You have to be standing on the edge to do it. It got confusing. Be the first one. It will be nice if it was more centered, because player might think that you need to be close to the object to grab it, but actually it needs to be in your field of view. That's simple.
Hi, I'm Logan, and I'm level designer on Superliminal. A difference with the main resizing mechanic in this game is how much freedom it gives the player. This puzzle is a good example. In most puzzle games, if you put an object on a button in this scenario, the object doesn't need to be moved anymore. The key to unlock the door removes the key from the problem space. But unfortunately, in our game, you can just turn around and grab the object from any distance away. Therefore, we've gotten good at adding barriers in many places so people won't carry an object through all puzzles forever.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that they put too many barriers and the puzzles are too self-contained. Too much self-contained in their own. This one... Yeah. This one is quite trippy. It is actually painted on the floor. From the distance looks like a piece. But it's not.
Confirmed. You can move freely, interact with surrounding objects, and listen to messages from your patient care team. Please note that I am the standard orientation protocol and that my voice has been explicitly chosen to remind you that I am not a part of your patient care team. I do not care.
And that reminds me a lot on GLaDOS in Portal.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I performed gameplay programming on Superliminal. When I joined the project, there weren't really any menus except the absolute bare minimum to get the player into the game, and there wasn't any keyboard support either. So the first order of business was to add proper mouse and keyboard support to the title and pause menus. The hardest part was supporting switching between the two on the fly, because you never know when the player is going to do it, and it could lock them out of the game. With that foundation laid, I started working on controller support. In terms of the menus, there wasn't much work to do. The pad basically acts like a keyboard. But gameplay was quite a different story. As we approached launch, we all agreed that controller support wasn't quite up to par, and so we shipped without it, adding it around a month after launch. To make controllers feel as good as mouse and keyboard, I wrote a bunch of code to modify how controller input is interpreted. For mouse and keyboard, input is more or less one-to-one mapped to player movement. So you move the mouse and the camera turns. but that doesn't feel good with controllers. Trying to pick up a very small object, say a chess piece, could be quite finicky. In the end, I made it so looking around accelerates the longer the stick is pressed, and behaves differently based on whether you are looking vertically or horizontally, and also while you are holding an object. Probably the biggest change was a quote-unquote auto-lock feature, which draws the focus to a grabbable object as your cursor gets closer to it. All these changes culminated in controllers feeling much more accurate and satisfying.
Okay, I never tried controller, I'm trying it now. Okay, this is jump, this is grab. Yeah.
Throughout each level, we try to give subtle hints on which objects are grabbable and which aren't. This is more of an introductory level, so it doesn't have a lot of objects, but you might notice that grabbable objects, in yellow, are complementary colors to the background colors of green and beige.
Okay. And I noticed that the instructions now changed for the controller. They detected that I'm using the controller. Let's use the mouse. It changes. Ah, nice, nice. That's a good touch. Left shoulder button and yeah, okay. I'll use a bit more the controller to see how it feels. Leave that over there. Grab it. No. Grab. Rotate. I think I should have used left shoulder button to rotate left and right shoulder button to... Ah, the right one actually is the trigger. Well, that's comfortable. Okay. 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 And jump. Okay.
During eyelids, you will lose the ability to awaken suddenly due to realizing that this is a dream. Evidence: I have already informed you that this is a dream. You did not wake up. Please complete the remaining orientation activities.
That does not mean anything. I can know that I'm in a dream. I don't want to wake up. What's the problem with that?
There's quite a bit of foreshadowing throughout this level. We wanted to hint at the mechanics that are going to come later in the game. For example, the projection, the clone, and the portal hallways later on. Little things like that feel like visual treats when you're playing this level, but serve as fun reminders when you play for a second time that we kind of told you the whole thing all along.
Okay. Okay, let's listen.
Hi there, I'm Steve. I'm the art director of Superliminal. One of our main visual touchstones for this section centers around a couple of silly questions. What would someone in the early 90s dream up as a futuristic testing facility? And how could they build that on a shoestring budget but with infinite time? I feel like those two questions were ones we actually asked ourselves more than once during the process of making this game.
One thing that's interesting is that up button doesn't need any kind of weight. It doesn't care how big the cube is. So the button can be gigantic and you can put a small button in it. No one ever explains what is this for. Does it have any commentary thing? No.
Warning: you have deviated from the orientation pathway. At the Pierce Institute, patient safety is a keynote in our corporate priority tetrahedron. A variable degree of force can and will be authorized to ensure patient safety. Please return to the orientation pathway.
When we were playtesting, we realized that players were getting tripped up on different aspects of the resize mechanic. so we try to make each puzzle in this level teach a specific action. The cheese puzzle is our way of forcing players to make something from very small to very big, and the puzzle after that is the opposite. This broken window puzzle is to teach you how to make things small and fit through a hole, but at a distance, so you can't simply walk up to it.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. See, it doesn't fit. But you need to make it small, then grab it from afar. So it needs to be small in your perspective. So for example, I could leave it here and grab it from very far away. And now it fits the hole. And you can see that the button is very big, but the cube is quite small. Still works.
All environments perceived during eyelids should reflect a typical mental state. If you believe your mental state was compromised by Somnasculpt, please provide a comprehensive, rational explanation in your post-procedural survey. Completed surveys may be eligible for a gift card.
Really no objects beyond this point at all times. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is a puzzle. And the problem is that the ceiling is not flat. There is no ceiling. So you can just... I just made it too big. Like that. Didn't press the button? Did I block myself out? That's interesting. That's interesting. I need to reset to checkpoint. First time that happened to me. That's because usually you grab it very small, put it over there. Yeah. Huh. Portals, by the way. This and that leads to the same place. Doesn't serve any purpose in here. It's just to show you around. Pretty colors as well. Let's see what they have to say about this.
We had this looping hallway for a while, but it was very nondescript and players got confused on where they were and they would get turned around. So our artist Steve helped mock up some windows and landmarks so people can tell where they are. Immediately, we found that playtesters weren't getting lost anymore and understood the moment.
Yeah, you need hallmarks or something. So if everything was flat, people will... Yeah, okay, I'm replaying it from scratch. So this is the beginning, and this is with the commentary. So we are listening to the developers at the moment. So basically, so it's just the replay. I know how to solve everything. Just listening a bit. Also to me on how I find. So yeah, the developers were just saying now that if those two things, those two windows weren't here, the problem is that this thing loops. So this hallway leads to this door on the right. So you can do this and this, you can see, and you always end to the same place or in reverse. Yeah, maybe you should replay with commentary. I replay every game that has commentary. I replay it with commentary afterwards because I love. I'm a developer myself. I did games when I was young, stupid games, and I love hearing developers and artists talking about the challenges and so on. So the challenge here for them was that those windows here weren't here before, so it means that it was all flat, and the players were getting lost because they were doing this and they were not recognizing they were entering the same space. So this helps you understand what's happening. So let's see, this one has also commentary.
Our core game mechanic is so novel that we immediately drew comparisons to other quasi-sci-fi puzzle games. And since our game is about playing with and subverting expectations, we wanted to lean into that and start the first level with a kind of test chamber aesthetic and immediately break that going forward. Narratively, this space is what Dr. Pierce planned to have his dream therapy program look like before it all went wrong.
Yeah. Also, one of the reasons why it looks so close to Portal, because they are all test chambers until at some point you have to start escaping the test chambers itself. It looks very close to Portal. So yeah, in this one, the problem is that this one, it takes a while for the player to understand that this one is pickable, you have to search, and then to understand that well, it was not that hard for me to understand that I need to press both buttons, because there is button 1, opens this one. Let's open one. So this one opens this one, then you have the second one, which this one you cannot pick, and there is nothing inside. And the button is on here. It can be seen through the window, very well placed. And the sound cue, a ding, is very clever as well. So now we need to make this bigger. To make it bigger, again, close, far away. Now I need to rotate this. I'm using the gamepad now because they said that it took them a while to put it and I want to test it. Now I have both pressed. And now I can go through both. Oh yeah, okay, I will do that now. 1 second. Let's change the title. Done. Okay, moving on.
Please stand by for polite recognition on your completion of the Somnasculpt orientation. You did it. To maximize the time allotted for your therapeutic journey, please do not delay in proceeding through the final doorway as indicated.
Yeah, and now instead the way it becomes, I'm going to move back to the keyboard and mouse. It becomes hard to find, so what to do in here. Yeah, I got stuck a few minutes here on the first try. Yeah, it's clear that this button opens this door, which leads to nothing. And there is this thing here that looks like half broken, so I was thinking like, put something over here that presses down. Yeah, I can see the piece here. And for me it took a while because there is only one piece. And there are few gaps and it's not obvious enough. So yeah, bigger. And over there. Here it is. Moving out. You see, I'm always carrying things because I think that I'm going to need them, but in this game, you never need those things. I always wonder what happens if I don't stop. Usually, well, okay, I'm going to stop it for now. Okay. Now it looks like we waked up. But yeah, there is a suspicion already that you don't. So when I was playing this the first time, I was like, okay, what I can grab to test if the mechanics of growing things are still in place. That will tell me that I'm still dreaming. But yeah, let's hear.
The reason we ended up with this sleep clinic section is because we wanted to convince players that they might have actually woken up from the dream. So we don't have any dreamlike mechanics you can play with until you get to the vending machine. Later on, this becomes a hub you come back to in order to emphasize the feeling of waking up from a dream within a dream.
Yep, exactly. So that's the trick. When I got here, I was suspicious that maybe I didn't dream. Maybe I didn't wake up. But yeah, there is no mechanics and so on, and I keep trying, and you keep trying to see, because you want to know if you are awake. I didn't try that in my first. My first run, I didn't try this. So yeah, that clearly states that you are in a dream. Let's move on.
We want the first moment of people walking into this hallway to feel different from other first-person puzzle games. This hallway is designed to feel surprisingly warm, which helps make it feel a little bit surreal and a little bit odd. Throughout the game, we're bouncing between these two feelings, the feelings of warmth and coldness.
Not exactly environment friendly though. I don't get why. Environment friendly. You mean from the vending machine maybe? Anyway, more pollution. Okay, I'm not following. So this is scene here. More garbage. Okay. So yeah, I really like the aesthetic of the game on the warm place. For the cold places, I don't like the color scheme that much, the beige and green one. But the warm ones, I love this. I really love this.
So my brief for the jazz part of this soundtrack was always to do my best to emulate the iconic solo jazz piano sound of the great Bill Evans. For that, I listened to an album called Alone. My process was to try to compose my own superliminal jazz standards. I fleshed out the first chorus and melody. Later on, I workshopped and recorded with my good friend John Reeves. And I'm so glad I did, because his piano skills are so much better than mine.
Okay, did you see that? Looks like you have an exit over here on front. You walk, and you don't. It's a perspective problem. Looks like you have a hallway on front. Yeah, there are pieces like that in museums as well. And this one, yeah, this one is actually the exit. There was another one, I think. Maybe it's in the next room. I love those. Those are very nice. Very nice played. DRM-free, the music doesn't seem to have any kind of copyright. It doesn't have any kind of weird launcher. It doesn't seem to have any kind of DRM, as much as I can tell. I can grab that. Okay, I'm playing the Steam version. You know why I play on Steam. So yeah, the game marks here the exit by this thing. So via is most probably I hate one thing that this game lacks is rotation is one axis only, left to right, but not up and down, or in the third axis either. So that's something missing. It's not really needed, but it will be convenient sometimes. Probably publish on tweets. I don't get why people will donate games to streamers to see them. Okay, that's feels strange to me. Never heard of that. Another mechanic that the game doesn't teach you, and it should, is that you cannot take fall damage. It's exactly like Portal. You cannot take any fall damage. It doesn't matter how much you fall. Oh, okay.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk to you about being special. So special, in fact, that we have no idea where you are. But not to worry, we're working on it.
Okay, and here the player already sees that we should go over here. So we need some kind of an object. Oh yes, I love this piece. So you put these together by getting the right perspective and it pops out. That's nice. Like that. Is enough? Yes. And now we have here another one. They struggled a little bit here. It's sad that this mechanic didn't repeat much along the game. It appears a few times now, and it doesn't repeat. But I can see that I'm missing here a flower pot. That's what it looks like. You can see that it looks like a flower pot. So, and there is a flower pot on here. So, just line the pieces. Top. Then sound effects are nice. And now you can get this one. And now this one, you have to grab it. So I don't know why the other one popped out of the place automatically, and this one I need to grab. I don't know. And this one is also another nice effect that is actually hollow. I love those surprising effects. That it's always unexpected. That will be enough. Yes.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and I was the principal artist on Superliminal. Optical's pink hotel hallway was the first area we nailed down visually and served as a starting point for how we approached the art for the rest of the game. We wanted enough decoration for it to be interesting to the player, yet it couldn't have too much visual noise, or else the player would get lost and overwhelmed. We made interactable objects the complementary color of the surrounding environment, which helped them pop more and feel more important. After we were happy with how this part of the game felt, the rest of the locales came together much quicker, and we required less iteration.
I like how here you can see the pillar. There is something in here, but you cannot tell what it is. Let's see. Yeah, that's a bug. It shouldn't pop out if the box is in front. But yeah, it was a door fixed here strapped. People need money too. Yeah, I know, okay. It's what Twitch is about.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'm just popping in to give you a quick update on where you are. We still don't know.
Cool.
But please keep moving forward, and hopefully you prefer frequent updates to being reminded that you are completely lost.
Okay, so there is a chess piece which doesn't fit because that's probably the viewing point. There is a cube which you can see that the game pushed me into the right place to grab it. Now I can put it here. And this was also another thing that was unexpected for me. I see the chess piece, I grab it, and I was like, okay, what is this chess piece for? Should I get over here somehow? Actually, I never tried to get into that. Actually, the thing is, it leaves the hole. That's the actual exit. I never tried to go over there. I don't think it's ever even possible. I don't think it's possible to go there. Yeah, can do that, so then probably too big. Should be doable. Almost. But there is no other piece here to use, right? There's no other piece to use. And that does not help. Unless I put it over here. Maybe I can stand. Can I make this a bit bigger? Okay, we'll give it a quick try. If not, we'll give it up because the exit is in the other place. Yeah, I can. So this is the wrong way. Please use the other door. Oh! Got something from here. A dice. This dice is special. It has light even. Nice. I like my dice. Nice, nice. Wonder, in an open space, how big it can get. Whoa. Amazing. Moving on.
Hi, my name is Phil Fortier, and I was the graphics programmer on Superliminal, and I also worked on some of the Easter egg design. So in this warehouse, you'll notice that there are actually 4 exits to the room, and the level geometry on the other side of the exits would actually overlap if it existed in real space. So to make the level design a little easier, we used our portal tech here. So the exits to the room when you leave the room are actually in vastly different physical locations within the level, but hopefully it should be all seamless for the player.
Okay. I didn't notice, and I'm not sure what he means.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and we still can't find you. But you should now have access to a series of elevators that should trigger your subconscious to gradually wake you up. You should also find a variety of emergency exit signs that should lead you to them. Will all of this work? Absolutely.
Ah, I can grab that. he said that there was 4 exits in the warehouse. I only see 2. I don't know why. I don't get it.
Before you grab the moon in the next room, please notice that it looks quite far away. An interesting fact is that it actually isn't that far at all. But because the moon's position is moving with your position, it seems to be infinitely far away.
I didn't think about that. So yeah, while playing this, I was feeling something was funny in this room. I couldn't tell what it is. But yeah, at some point I thought like, there is a moon, maybe I can grab it. And it's true that it looks like an infinity. And it's true that within the game mechanics, if it was infinitely far away, it will be infinitely big. This does not work. So yeah, okay, it moves with the player. Maybe that's why it was looking weird? No, maybe it was the colors, I don't know. Why it felt so weird for me. One thing that I hate here is that it sticks to places. This object sticks. Okay, let's hear that.
This puzzle has the problem of requiring the room to not have a ceiling, which resulted with players wanting to escape the room. In a later update, we added a secret area above this room and a bunch of other secret areas based on where we saw players going.
Well, of course, if you have a path out, we want to try it out. I'm not going to use the recordings. They don't say anything. Let's just stick with the commentary. So yeah, yeah, that actually doesn't go anywhere. This is the actual exit.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. In the event that this elevator does not wake you up, please don't interact with anything that strikes you as psychologically significant.
The effect on the load bars is amazing. I love it. This feeling of program never completes loading is... Now, I want to try to not to tick the alarm clock. I'm going to leave it as this. Because it's a thing that becomes a recurrent thing. I touched this before and it's still in the same place. But the can is not here anymore. Vaya soda.
This is an automated message for all patients who attempted to use an alternate pathway to access the next phase of somnasculpt therapy, but who have become trapped in a dream state paradox instead. Your decisions imply a failure of orientation, which reflects negatively on the standard orientation protocol. You will rectify this failure immediately.
Okay, let's make this a bit bigger, enough.
So the standard orientation protocol character is obsessed with proper orientation, and that makes her kind of thematically antagonistic to the idea of truth being, intrinsically tied to perspective. But to me, the fun part of it was writing her as being cruel without there being any actual malice to it. Like, she has nothing against you personally. Her programming simply can't see beyond proper orientation as being the only thing of any value to a somnosculpt patient whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's what it makes it so portalish. This was this commentary, right? Because GLaDOS is exactly the same.
An early challenge we had for creating the art for Cubism was how to approach the space and make sense of it. We started taking it a bit too literally. For example, how can we make sense of the door being so high up? Why would it be built this way? The solution we arrived at was simply not to make sense of it, because it shouldn't. We created a simple museum aesthetic that wouldn't get in the player's way of experimenting with and enjoying the puzzles. Sometimes keeping it simple is the way to go.
Let me say that this way of reasoning of putting in kind of a museum aesthetic, it's a failure. I don't think that's the way to do it, because it strikes us less surprising, because in museums you see pieces of art, so that could be a piece of art, which is what the developer actually intended. But if this was kind of a house or something that feels real, it will throw players off a lot. I will enjoy the game more if it was that way. I'm still not sure if I clicked this one. Did I click this one?
So the standard orientation protocol.
Yes.
So the standard orientation protocol
Sorry.
character is obsessed with proper orientation, and that makes her kind of thematically antagonistic to the idea of truth being, intrinsically tied to perspective. But to me, the fun part of it was writing her as being cruel without there being any actual malice to it. Like, she has nothing against you personally. Her programming simply can't see beyond proper orientation as being the only thing of any value to a Somnoskull patient.
The
Next
average
one.
adult
Between the colorful dream spaces, we have these, what we call back areas. These back areas serve as the backdrop to everything. They are where the dream spaces are built, and also the service hallways in between them. We wanted to give them a colder, darker feel to contrast with other spaces in the game. But we also wanted to keep a man-made feel, as if people were just here moving things, creating these spaces, doing work a second before you arrived.
Yeah, it reminded me a little of Charlie Kaufman's Synecdoche, New York. That idea of building a world inside of another world.
Yeah, to me it doesn't make much sense, because you told me that I'm in a dream, and now you put soda machines and gas things like I have myself very weird dreams, but with this, no, that's not in. I don't see that this in a dream. So, well, I mean, it's not bad, because it makes me think if I'm actually in a dream or in reality, because this looks like man-made, but I don't know.
Originally, we had little plaques indicating exhibits within the museum, but we felt it was a little bit too on the nose, so to speak. You are the main exhibit, so I imagine the players wandering around a game with an exhibit plaque hanging around their necks.
That's an interesting idea. I will have loved to see kind of the reverse, like walking from the back wall of the museum and like being myself exposed to the public, like in a zoo, with figures like public looking into me. That would have been nice. That jump is a bit too pixel perfect, but okay.
Please note that a reluctance to volunteer for the risks associated with explosive mental overload implies a misunderstanding of all other solutions, all of which are far more traumatic and likelier to result in catastrophe. I am not capable of suboptimal suggestions. Please exit this dream as soon as possible.
No.
Not all of our interesting perspective moments can be built into puzzles. Some are just great moments that break your expectations. This level interprets a cube in multiple different ways, and even though none of these are difficult puzzles, they all work together to create a whole series of back-to-back surprise moments.
Yep.
It was fun finding the balance of making it feel like someone was messing with you, without making it feel like the cube is sentient.
The cube is sentient? I don't know. Why would you? Yep. Leave that over there. But yeah, I love as well this thing of Making the levels just for the sake of this thing is cool. I love it. Because you don't expect that. I mean, if it is simple to resolve, it doesn't need to be complicated. But it's kind of lovely to have these moments of doesn't align with your expectations at all. And I love it. And this one is just the fall. So yeah, probably here's where it teaches you that, yeah, you don't take fall damage. And the game pushes you. I always went through this door, but I guess that... Ah, no, you cannot grab things. If I grab from the other one, maybe I could have something to push on here. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Oh yeah, it is a very good breathing room, yes. It's lovely because if it's always puzzle, harder and harder and harder. In the end of the game, it feels like that. Like it's getting harder and harder for no reason. And like, no, I just want to experience the game. I don't want to be pushed harder and harder every single time. Like, come on, I'm not training here. Yeah, so if I don't touch it or touch it, doesn't matter at all. So let's just press it. That's how it's supposed to go. You should pause or press the snooze button.
Hello, my name
It
is
triggers
Dr. Glenn Pierce.
without me triggering
and
it.
despite touring the Waterfall Serenity Zone in the previous section you've just completed, you may still be experiencing feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt. Why do I feel like everything is going wrong, even when the sun is shining?
This level came about because we explored the idea of the game being an anthology of different stories, one story for each level. This level was the horror level, and I immediately knew what it would be about, getting the player to be scared of their own shadow. None of the scares are actually real, but the player doesn't know that right away. We scrapped the anthology idea, but this level worked so well that we kept it.
I don't remember being scared. Oh yeah, that. I hate the flickering of the lights. I don't get scared about that, but the flickering of the lights, that triggers epilepsy. So they should work a bit better that flickering to be less severe, or have something in the options here. Let's say here, options, gameplay, something in here, or in graphic settings to make it epilepsy friendly, because those flickerings are too hard.
One aspect we wanted to explore and draw from was movie scene cuts, basically how a match cut in a movie might make sense in a game. This next moment is a good example. Carefully watch the cloud in the distance. You'll see that it cuts to a new scene.
Cuts to a new scene. Just hate that flickering. Cannot stand it. Yes, of course. I noticed that. This is just teleportation. I don't think there is nothing special about that. I mean, it throws you off for half a second, but it's just half a second. It's not quite confusing at all.
Boo.
Boo? Boo what? Ah. I don't think I did this the other time. But yeah, they are trying to put stains of blood or so on. That's not scary. There's nothing going on here that is actually scary. Just blood stains. Yes, a bit of noise. Yeah. Monday murder, Thursday murder. Murder, and Sunday beans. Like that part. One thing I don't like is removing my ability to view. So that I do actually hate. Because I mean, I cannot touch. You have beans as well? Yep. And this one, I don't know why they crammed it so much. It looks like you cannot go through. Yeah. And this one... This puzzle was clever. So if you go through, you start again here. At the top. So that's nice. That's nice. You cannot die. Then I remember that I did this, and yeah, that's to the void. This use of the black color is nice, of the shadow, so I approve. That was not needed.
Hello, my name is Dr.
Triggers the
Graham
radio
Pierce,
anyway.
and I'd like to talk more about the feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt I mentioned before. You feel this way because you want the kind of happy life you see all around you, the kind you know everyone else is enjoying. And that's exactly why we're here to help.
This part it tripped me a bit, actually. The fact of thinking that there is someone behind the window. There is something somewhat looking through the window. That threw me off. It's just a pound. But I like that. I don't think I saw it again. But the fact that I'm always alone in the game is what makes non-scary at all. Because if I'm only alone in the game, it means that only my actions count to die or to complete the game. Smooth. When you feel that something else is in there, you start to worry about what they might do to you. That's actually worrying. But yeah, I don't like being so dark. That's fine.
Warning. You were advised to subject yourself to explosive mental overload by descending into additional dreams, but have now descended into a dream within a dream instead, disorienting yourself even further. You are responsible for failing to make this crucial distinction.
The object used in this puzzle was originally a flashlight, but unfortunately,
yes.
because of how the mechanic works, it always placed the flashlight at the end of the room, which is not a particularly useful position for a flashlight. We tried a couple of things, but finally decided to switch to an object that could glow from both ends.
Yeah, and it took me a while to understand why I cannot go through. But yeah, once you have the object, you can make it bigger, and it makes more light. That's lovely. So now you can see all the room. You can see what you might have been missing. There's something else in this room. Or in the previous room. In here. And that's very clever. That's actually very clever. Very nice mechanic. Can I turn around the flashlight? Yeah. Like that. Cannot go through, sadly. Another flashlight. That's good. Okay, so you cannot go out that way, but there is an exit this way. So you just jump, jump, jump.
Did you know that unintentional multi-dream layering occurs in less than 1% of patients? This correlates strongly with the 99% of patients who are able to follow simple instructions from the standard orientation protocol.
One thing that I love is the knife. Look in the knife. Look the knife. Gone. But yeah, doesn't do anything else.
When I prototyped this part, there was going to be a shadow of a monster on the wall that turned out to be a bunch of random objects when the lights turned on. The shadow always looked silly though, so eventually the reveal became the blood actually being red paint.
Wait a bit more. See if it triggers anything. No, that's it.
This room was one of the biggest technical challenges we had in the game.
Originally, this was one huge room, but turning our dynamic lights all on abruptly killed the frame rate, so we ended up chopping the room into smaller areas so we could hide and unhide objects from the player's view once the lights turned back on. This would lessen the amount of objects getting hit by lights at the given time, thus saving on performance.
Yeah, I remember Phil even tried teleporting the player to a completely new room, but that change-up was a bit too visually obvious, and we eventually realized that chopping up the room was the answer.
Yeah, and this room, it makes you feel that you can go outside. I tried a bit. It seems that you cannot go outside. Let's see. Most of the stuff in these boards are programming things. It's all about coding, so they probably... Yeah, they are all probably related to the game development, in a simplistic way. Well, this one is not. Yeah. I think that is foreseeing what's going to happen next. Foreshadow.
We wanted to do a unique alarm clock for each level, but this is the only one that survived that idea.
Okay, that's it. A lot of clocks. Like, there is a
We
lot
wanted to do a unique alarm clock for each level,
I know.
but this is the only one that survived that idea.
There are a lot of clever ideas on alarm clocks over the internet. I guess they are too complicated to make in a game. There are alarm clocks that roll under the bed and keep ringing. Okay, let's bring the door. I got confused in this level before. This was duplicating.
Part of breaking expectations is changing your definition of an object. A door, which usually keeps people out, becomes a flight of stairs if it is cloned enough times.
Yeah, it's like a domino. I was thinking like, can I push it? But it turns out that the player cannot interact with the environment. Like, you cannot push. And I was stuck here for a long time trying to make them like put one in the middle or make it, yeah, something like that, and push them. Doesn't work. What you're supposed to do is go over the top like that. Took me a while to figure out the effect of being...
Dr. Pierce requires you to note the following risks of dream overexposure. Significant memory loss.
Yeah, I think that it looks like a frame, picture or something, and then you come in and it's actually a door with something exposed. That's very cool.
Yeah, so this right-click to return sign that I bet you didn't even notice is one of the most unread signs in the game. It comes up later, and it's also one of the most unread signs in the game there too.
I actually read it, and I was here like clicking right-click, like it doesn't do anything, or here, like what it means to return. To return what? I figured out later what it meant. As I was doing this, I love the sound changing. So right click to return means that you press right click now and they collapse. So wait. So what I want to do is grab it, make it big, make it big. No. Wait. That should be enough. The snooze button. It's quite detailed. Yeah. My HUD. Do you see that now it has a smile on it? Have a smiley? Oh yeah. Someone could make an empower over that. Duplicating stuff. But yeah, I now notice that my HUD, there is a smile on it. Interesting. I didn't notice the previous play. And this one now, you can see that. Pop, 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 pop. It's useless, but yeah. Whoa, that was trippy. Okay.
Let's talk about the smiley face. Because our goal was to break people's expectations, we prototyped a lot of weird moments like these. Some of them didn't work because they felt too meta. They would actually take people out of the game experience. This one, however, stayed because it was just subtle enough and playful enough that you could see it as a bout of insanity.
Too subtle. I didn't notice the last time. The physics in general, yeah, they are nice in the game.
Aside from the core resizing mechanic, I think cloning the objects is one of the more immediately enjoyable mechanics that we put into the game. When we ran playtests, this one would always have people smiling.
Didn't happen for me. I didn't like this mechanic quite that much, because I was quite lost on it. I love how the sound changes. That's a nice touch. Now you can do right click and they collapse. Ah, and this changes the music. Yeah, like conjurers can conjure stuff with strong material by restricting themselves to this game's physics. Okay. Could be nice. I don't know. They have a lot of mechanics in Hunter x Hunter. Oh yes. The fan. The fan which has a huge flow. So you grab the apple. And you can see that the fan is throwing them away. The reason the fan is there is because we have on top here a button. And you are supposed to use the apple, to put the apple on top, to press the button. And I guess that people will try to... Oh yes! You could duplicate apples like that. Wow. That's a great Nen power, yes. I think we should vote for that. They should make a character in Hunter x Hunter that does this, that duplicates food or stuff like that. It will be amazing. So yeah, I guess that players will try to push the apples here. So the stairs already prevent you from putting anything over the top, but the fan makes it obvious that it's not going to work. But the fan, this is amazing. In which world a fan has the back part closed? Like, how is the wind going through if you don't have a hole here? That's not even possible. But yeah, I'm going to let that one slip by, because I mean, this is a dream. Anything is possible. So the trick is, if you do this, so I don't know if it will be obvious for players, but the game is forced to put things in front of your perspective. So even if the source object is clipped, the destination needs to be on top of the button. It's forced. So in the same manner that when you click here, it goes in front of the poles, because it cannot collide the poles. Or you click again, it needs to be in front of the apple, because it cannot collide with the rear object. So even when it's clipped like that, by perspective, it goes in front. Moving on. That will be nice.
Warning.
No, I can't.
Dr. Pierce is frantically submitting numerous spelling and grammar mistakes into the standard orientation protocol in a desperate attempt to counsel you. I have no subroutine to correct these errors, but I cannot compromise the integrity of the standard orientation protocol. You will not receive these messages. They would not make sense regardless.
Ah, it can duplicate oxygen. Okay, it can duplicate the air. Yeah, well, like, why not? Overall, it's a dream. Doesn't need to apply any kind of rule. So yeah, that could be the thing. So I need to get on top of that. So usually you can do that. And now let's see. The closer I get, no, but yeah, that's bigger. So the maximum size is always the source size for duplication. Does that work? Yes, it does. Now I can go and on here and come down. Okay, can do right click as well, and it will work. Another clever trick.
Attention! Dr. Pierce continues to input significant errors. I will interpret
Players
his
may
basic
notice the motif of the repeating purple hallway found throughout Clone. We wanted the player to have this feeling of, have I been here before? This seems pretty familiar. But we didn't want it to be too easy, or to be 100% unclear. So we introduced differences such as lighting, prop placement, and hallway length. That way, for most players, it was something chewing away at the back of their minds, as opposed to being blatantly obvious.
To me, it feels repetitive. It feels very repetitive. But okay, it's fine.
Lots of credit here to Max Hoarth, who plays the role of Dr. Glenn Pierce, for really nailing this bizarre line in an impressively short number of takes. We were totally prepared to have him record the words in like their logical order and rearrange them after the fact, but his performance of doing it correctly, incorrectly, was phenomenal.
Okay, yeah, let's listen to that.
Hello, name is my Pierce Dr. Glenn. To the Somnosculpt Welcome Experience, team of your care leader patient years 10 development. Conditions struggle you whatever with? Professional invention. Edge science with cutting, a tomorrow can bright. And buts, no ifs or? Luck good.
Yeah, that was interesting. In here, when it says, what if I forget to set the alarm? I think it should have said, what if I forgot in past? Like, what if I'm already inside the dream and I didn't remember to put the alarm to wake me up? And now I'm trapped because I don't have the alarm. Because that's what you think, or what I will think while sleeping, like, maybe I didn't put the alarm in and I will oversleep. I don't know. Here is the fancy loading bar doing strange stuff. Come on, loading bar. You can do better. Yeah, I bet that most of that loading time is actually wait from the game that forces you to wait. Relaxation Room.
This room kind of happened by accident. We originally just put a cloud video texture as placeholder as a way to expand on the cloud motif. It ended up working so well and fitting the tone so well that we made this a private theater room in the sleep clinic. It evokes a nostalgic and relaxing but slightly creepy feeling which seemed to fit the game perfectly.
Yes, I do agree, and I think that the cloud texture is overused throughout the game. It's quite overused, so this is quite good.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. This is a notification that you have reappeared on our monitoring system after a prolonged absence. Please continue to do whatever you did most recently, and discontinue whatever you were doing immediately prior to that.
Oh yes, this part is nice. So yeah, here is a house, small tiny house. Put over here, now you have a big house. That's too big. Bit smaller. Yeah. Now we come through.
The sound effects that probably took the most tweaking were definitely all associated with the resizable objects. For them, I had to make a collision matrix so that the sound of you dropping a box or a cube would smoothly change from its smallest to its largest size and anywhere in between. So to achieve that, there were lots of different layers of the sounds, lots of automated pitch shifting, speeding up, slowing down, lots of crossfading between different layers of the sound, and a lot of trial and error to get it feeling right inside the game.
Yeah, that's true, and it makes it very nice. So yeah, you see that we exit the house through the same door this is quite funny. To the same place. So if I go again and do all the walk around, you are always coming here. But in here there is a small door. So you just make this thing bigger. Maybe like that. And now I'm smaller. And they can fit through the door. Question is, am I too small? Yeah, a bit too small, yes. Yeah, and that's the sound effect that he's talking about. Depending on the size of the object. I don't think that's necessary, that the object was resized in real time, because the player cannot really perceive it. But yeah, so if I make this thing very small, or if I make it very big. Example, let's see. I don't know. If I made this myself, I would have made the sound change on release of the object. That's when it seems that for the player that it triggers. So it was much more sophisticated than I felt that it was needed. This, I thought that the cable was doing something.
Hello.
So it was
my
following the
name is
cable.
Dr. Glenn Pierce. In addition to continuing and discontinuing as mentioned earlier, please also disregard any unsettling experiences that you may have recently had. Everything should have now reverted to being soothing and therapeutic. If this is not the case, you may be receiving this message in error.
So yeah, I was thinking that maybe I can pull the cable out or do something with it, but you can't. Oh, the Jenga. It's a nice mechanic as well. You can make the thing bigger. And it throws off everything. Oh, don't tell me that I screwed it. I screwed it. This is undoable now. Yeah. Okay, let's try to make it. Do I fit inside or not? Yes, I think so. And this the trick is that one of the windows is movable. So you just make it big enough so you can fit through the window because it doesn't have any glass. And now I'm small. Luckily the next door is small as well. Oh, don't tell me that I'm not small enough. I was going to say that they should test this a lot because... Yeah. Okay, I'm small enough. Requires a lot of testing.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to read you my favorite inspirational quote by me. The worst thing you can do is focus on negativity. It won't spare you from the cage of death, the pain of disease, the cruelty of time, the cold shell of human nature, or the eventual loss of everything you've ever held dear. Whatever you do, don't focus on that.
This puzzle existed for a long time, but it took a while to figure out what the art was going to be because the bouncy castle used to just be a weird L-shaped block. Eventually, we landed on the pool motif and the bouncy castle and added a little bit where you go inside the vent.
Yeah, the bouncy castle was nice. I got stuck for a while with my first try. Yeah. Yeah, because in this size I can do... Okay. Let's... No! Let's see. Can I... No. And now I think I do fit. Yes. So yeah, the problem here is that I thought I needed to be small enough to go through, but that's actually not the case. What you need is the exit of the castle to go to the exit on top. I was not able to find the exit, which is in here. You can see that I can bring the castle, and then if I exit that way, I will be on here. Let's try it so we can see it. So if I exit here, now I can go through that and jump. But the problem is that the castle, the orange part of the castle is too high for the player to jump easily. So when you are small, the castle becomes a problem to go back into normality. Now I'm not sure if I... So that's outside. Let's try over here. That's too big. I need a smaller castle. Something like that. I need to check the sizes. Now the exit should be... The exit of the castle should be the exit of the level. Yeah. And the size seems to match roughly. Yeah, I'm a bit small.
Because we have portals that you can resize, the player can freely change their own size. This actually created a design problem because you could never predict what size the player was supposed to be. And if we dynamically changed the size of the geometry later on in the level, things could break really easily. So instead, we added these portals, like this doorway over here, which changes size in order to resize you back to the normal scale of a human.
Yeah, something like that was needed.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to thank you for triggering every single one of our 823 emergency protocols. This will assist us greatly in improving the system for future patients. Congratulations. Anyway, you're now headed in the right direction, and we should be able to initiate the emergency exit protocol shortly.
Okay, let's listen there.
Changing the player size through portals has a couple of weird side effects when it comes to programming. You have the obvious ones, such as needing to change the player collider, movement speed, jump height, and mantling distance. You have a couple of less obscure ones, such as needing to change the camera's far and near clip planes, so geometry is less likely to clip through your camera as you get smaller. Another interesting one we'll talk about later.
Okay. In my first run, I kept trying to resist myself to be big enough, but turns out that all that you need to do is to put the other end over the top. That's it. And as always, I keep insisting on bringing the objects. They are not needed. So yeah, I'll bring them again in case I need to resist myself. But they are not needed.
Another weird thing about player resizing is that gravity is actually constant across all sizes. So imagine you're in the perspective of an ant, and a giant shoe is coming down from the sky to step on you. That shoe in your mind might take a couple seconds, but in real life, it would be instant. Whatever size you are, large objects traveling through space should feel like they are moving slowly. So when we change the player size, we're actually also adjusting gravity in order to compensate for this as well. This is physically incorrect, but this feels better for the player.
Yeah. But there is some part where it's not that incorrect, which is the terminal velocity. You could just keep the terminal velocity constant. I mean, relative to the player size. Okay, let's see where is the other one. Came from there, so the other one is here. Let's make it bigger. Careful. Can I go through? Yes. Now. And the sound is also relative to the player size, not only to the object size. I only need a house, I think. So make it roughly my size. That's roughly my size.
So that's my cat. His name is Finn, and he's a good boy. And we only had a day or two left before finishing the game, and we needed to figure out what kind of posters to put in our elevators. So I decided to have a little bit of fun with it, and this is by far my favorite, of course. The Cardboard Lovers Association also makes a nice little nod to the cardboard dollhouse.
Yeah, and cats love cardboard. They love to be in boxes. Okay, we are 2 hours in. I guess there are roughly hour and a half left. Yeah, 3 a.m.
The emergency exit protocol is the shortest lived character in the game, but my heart really goes out to him. Because just like a triangle player in an orchestra, he has precisely one job and he waits patiently for his moment to do it, only of course to have it snatched away just as that moment arrives. I think many people can identify with this feeling.
Error analysis complete. You are exhibiting signs consistent with an increase in fear, hopelessness, and frustration. This is inconceivable, as somnasculpt therapy is proven to correlate with a decrease in these emotions. Hypothesis: patient was improperly oriented. Conclusion: impossible. Reformulating. Improved hypothesis: patient requires additional somnasculpt therapy. Conclusion: emergency exit protocol cannot proceed. Emergency exit protocol has been emergency destroyed. Instruction: continue with Somnasculpt therapy indefinitely on an independent basis, as all orientation resources have been exhausted. This concludes your standard orientation protocol. Goodbye.
Yeah, I think it's timed. Yes. And there I go finishes. PM again. Cannot go out. You hit the alarm, the door opens. This is again new. You cannot go out. You hit the alarm, you can go out. It forces you to hit the alarm. Yes, this is good. I love that. Being so dark, I don't like it, but yeah, now it's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Now you have the urge to press the button. All the times that you hear it, you want to press the button. I think that is the only thing you can do here. Now, see that this has changed. I love this portal mechanic.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. Thank you for completing the Somnasculpt Standard Orientation Protocol. Before you begin the first phase of therapy, I'd like to briefly describe the finite and fragile nature of the dream state.
We had all these surprise moments prototyped, and so I wondered what it would feel like if we had a whole level of surprise moments. I wanted it to be fast-paced. The working title for this level is Chase. This is the boss level of the game, basically. It's inspired by the third act of the movie Brazil, how it gets crazier and faster paced over time.
Yeah. Feels very weird. The sensation of what is up, what is down. Makes my brain hurt.
Of course, nothing is more challenging than the difficulty of changing perspective, of fundamentally altering your perceptions in a way that will enable you to face dire, trial-by-fire scenarios with solutions that could not be found otherwise.
Now I thought I could use this for that. And turns out that no. It's a very well missed opportunity because I think that all of us love this piece. I love this piece. Maybe it's unworkable? Let me test. Let me test. This unworkable on the game, that's why it's never used. This is quite nice. And there's no developer commentary about that. But I bet that that's the reason why they don't allow you to use it. Oh, it works. More or less, it works. I don't know why they don't let you use it.
The
music throughout the game really goes through a significant transformation, but the piano is always there to guide you. Even as the music becomes darker and more electronic, it always has the melody, or at least a really significant role to play. It changes as you progress through the game. I switched to different types of piano, starting out with a piano Bill Evans famously recorded on. Later, switching to a more modern sounding instrument. I double it with prepared piano sounds sometimes, I use felt piano, and gradually more reverbs and delays as the game evolves. But at the heart of each piece is the piano.
Yeah, indeed, the music is quite nice. It's well done. Especially for something made in-house. So that's amazing. I love it. Okay. Let's move on. Yeah, in this piece here I got confused for a while. You can hear the noise. It says here, mark. But then you do this. This clink is done. We are in HAL 2. So the way this works is the exit is towards the arrow. So on the left. But wherever you point first, so if I point to the left, it will be closed. And it will force me to go to the other path. But if I look in the opposite direction, if I look into the right, then the right one is the one that is closed. And then the left is where it's pointing to, it's open. So that's what you have to do. You have to look into where is this pointing to, look opposite, then go. Opposite, there. Opposite, there. Opposite, there. Done. Ah, it's the same smiley as before. Yes.
Finally, while we respect the unique progress of every patient, you must understand that it is possible to completely exhaust your supply of dreams, thereby entering
I
a
missed.
state in which you will not.
I missed one commentary.
Finally, while we respect the unique progress of every patient, you must understand that it is possible to completely exhaust your supply of dreams.
The original idea for Labyrinth was to explore earlier areas, but with a new spin on them. Sometimes it was a matter of adding new interactive moments to turn things on their head, while for others, we would take existing locales and give them a new lick of paint and set dressing. Something familiar, yet fresh and unexpected.
That instability is perfect for the mood and for general world building too. Conceptually, different patients will be bringing different experiences with them into the dream state, and we wanted to reflect that.
Okay. That was the part that I missed. I somehow feel that the game is too fast-paced, that you think that you have nowhere to rest, and it forces you to do a 4-hour gaming session in a moment. Because there is always something happening. We're always moving forward. It's like there is no resting.
So when I joined the project, this infinite elevator sequence wasn't actually infinite. It was just a very large block of, I don't know, 20 by 10 elevators. And the performance, as a result, wasn't very good. And the illusion could be ruined if you walked all the way to one side. So one of the things I did was actually make it infinite. So there's a much smaller block of real elevators, and the player gets teleported seamlessly by portals on each end. And so the end result is an infinite elevator sequence that you can just go in one direction forever.
Yep. Yeah, the same again, yeah.
Please listen carefully for the sound of an alarm clock, which will automatically play if you are approaching a destabilizing dream weight.
Yeah, and the sequence, yeah, everything disappeared now. I was like, okay, I'm in the empty space. But then, pop, you hit a wall. The texture, though, could get some improvement. And a wall, then you walk through there. There's not a wall yet. You can still see when it pops out as a wall. That's a wall, that's not a wall, that's not a wall, and now it's a wall. You can see it popping out. When all four are there, we get this. And we come here. Ah, don't recall this one before. Are they random? Oh yes, I got stuck here for a
This
while.
is highly unusual. It appears you have entered the Somnasculpt diagnostic framework. Patients do not have access to this dream.
Yeah, this one is closed. Let's hear the commentary first.
So coming up with the way to actually make the portal and a portal make sense for the player was a really tough problem. And we iterated on this for weeks with input from all different team members. So it was really a group effort. But it was important to get it right because this is one of the pivotal moments in the game. And then another thing we had to do was figure out how to make the world degrade in a way that fit with the game's look and feel. And one day while prototyping, I just happened to accidentally assign a light map texture to one of the walls in the room, and I really liked the way it looked. Light map textures are textures generated by the engine offline to help with realistic lighting. So anyway, we ended up using this. So when the world degrades, the shafts of light breaking through the walls into the rooms, and that effect is actually driven by a light map texture from one of the other levels.
Yeah. So here I can grab that.
Diagnostic warning. Unrealistic use of dream objects may result in dream integrity fail states.
And turns out that this is come on, make it big. There. This is actually a miniature of this. So I can do this, can walk and get out. Like that. So yeah. Took me a while to figure out what the game wanted. Yeah, it's about placing it inside.
Please paradox from creating any refrains. Explosive dream overload may result. Please paradox overload. Please overload from dream explosion. Conclusion dream overcome frame.
This spatio-temporal moment of wonder is brought to you by the very long but invisible rectangular portals tucked behind these empty windows, looking out into other parts of the level you may soon travel to.
Yeah, I don't like this white and black. This is something that I hate. Maybe in VR it's less confusing because you get a 3D feeling, but...
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce.
In the regular sense, in the regular game, it gets quite confusing when things don't have any kind of shade. They get completely black.
Where everything I perceived was shaped by seeing it exactly the way I wanted to.
Okay,
White space.
let's hear the commentary here.
This final level was designed with the idea of removing depth perception entirely. All the visuals are flattened.
Yeah, and I hate it. Thank you. Do not remove depth perception because it's very confusing. Unless you have a 3D glasses or something, it's very confusing. That was loud. I wish I could run in the game. Yeah, that's clever, but yeah, it's confusing. And this thing that everything is dark, making me walk backwards to see something, I don't like it. There is a lot of stuff in the game that at the end you get so tired that you don't get to walk around and experience it. There is a lot of work that you cannot see, that you don't want to see. That is very well laid out. There's a portal over here. Now you can grab that. And done.
But in white space, I also faced the greatest challenge I could imagine. Because with a lifetime of life itself behind me, and all of the weight that it carried...
Notice that they made this spawn black. It probably was almost invisible in here.
Since the universe that the players inhabit is seemingly created in almost a kitbash way while within Somnosculpt, it was a unique challenge to show the players truly a peek behind the curtains of the system. A blank canvas, a scratch document, an empty sticky note with some notes, little things creatively interspersed throughout. I think I derived some of the inspiration for what happens when you're playing a VR game and suddenly the game crashes to a totally white space. That feeling of disorientation, even though you understand the world around you is an illusion.
Look all the detail that they have here. All the detail. Most players will lose because most of us will just click this. Yeah. And that's where I got stuck. So this. We're ending the game already. We enter into this room.
Negative space is another concept related to changing expectations and changing your perceptions of an object. This puzzle works really well because the solution is obvious in retrospect, but it takes people a couple of seconds in order to figure out. We actually had to add the looping hallway because without it, people would run out of things to do and immediately start rubbing their bodies against the walls and come to the solution almost immediately.
Yeah, and with the looping thing, I keep looping for 30 minutes. Keep looping there for 30 minutes almost. Wow.
You're well beyond dreaming now, and further out than anyone has ever come back from. But we hope that you won't get discouraged. After all, if this is a place of pure perspective, isn't it also a place where a different point of view could make anything possible? Isn't that why you came here?
Well, that's why I don't like the this thing of no shades at all, solid color, because you don't know what you're looking at. I mean, that's personal taste. That's only personal taste. And this door, it got me confused for a while, like, why? This door is here. Then I placed something in here, and it worked. Okay, whatever. And now we can grab the cheese. Grab that as well. Move that out. Let's make this bigger. A bit bigger. Okay. Move this piece on top. Too big? Too small. No! Come on. In the previous playthrough, I did it almost immediately. Cannot be that hard. Chop. Okay, done. And now it's down. It's a nice effect. I like this effect. And I hate this effect. Okay, I'll leave it on. I don't know if that's hurting anyone, close your eyes. But I don't like it. Ugh. And we are reaching the end of the game. Yes, yes. So yeah, I think that I beat the game in the first time in 3 hours and a half. And now with the commentary and waiting for the commentary has been 2 hours.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and by now you may have realized that all of this has happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
This last section was something that Logan and I worked together on for a really long time. When I first saw it, I had this great feeling for how it could be like a really nice, impactful moment. And so I got this really kind of awe-inspiring, inspirational music to put behind it. And Logan absolutely hated it. I stuck to my guns and asked him to stick with it for a while and play it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and see how things went. And he ended up totally coming around to my side of thinking. Initially, we were unsure if we went for this kind of pure feeling that it would just be really hokey. And I ended up reading this essay on television written by David Foster Wallace. And it really kind of encouraged me to kind of get over that sort of postmodern, too cool for anything aesthetic, and to just really go gung-ho into sort of rewarding you for ending the game by giving you something really nice.
This level was created early on. I liked the idea of giving the player some time to think about their journey rather than ending the game immediately, and I knew film-like clips would be perfect for revisiting their experience through the game. Chris initially suggested a song for reference, and at first I hated it. I kept listening to it though, and eventually grew to love the song. Matt came up with a track that is even better than the reference material, and it fit perfectly.
Your life will always be a struggle.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry. I kind of love this music for completing the game. It's not over the top. It's a bit of a success on ending the game and revisiting the old levels. It's quite nice. Because there are some parts that are very intricate. Appreciating those twice is very nice. And it feels like you are going back. They are being displayed kind of backwards, not in exact order, but kind of backwards. So it has this feeling maybe of waking up that you are just going back from where you came from, which is back to being awake. So kind of like it.
In a few minutes, you'll be back in the real world. And some part of you will say that none of this was real. So how could it have really meant anything? But just like the power of perspective itself, it will have been as real as you believed it to be. All you've got to do is wake up.
The transitions are a bit harsh sometimes on those scenes. But yeah, that's all. That's the game. With the commentary, it's quite nice. Quite nice. I said it took me 3 hours and a half to beat it.
That's it. That's the game.
Yeah, and thanks for listening all the way through, if you did that.
Thank you for exploring our dreamy environments. I love you.
The models, textures, avocados, let's see, materials, rubber duck, apples. I think that's all of the art.
And thanks for enjoying the music and sound.
And the writing.
And the code that holds everything together.
So yeah, as I was saying, around 3 hours and a half to beat the whole game from a new player perspective.
Are we going to talk about the design goal of this level?
Please, do.
Oh, come on.
The goal was to show you who made the game.
Thank you.
Obviously, that's what credits are for. So yeah, and then this replay has been, I think, 2 hours, roughly. The game is super nice. I will recommend the game. It's just that it feels a bit expensive for the amount of hours that it contains of playthrough.
Hello, 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 hello.
That's not commentary.
Warning, the average adult can only withstand
So we'll
3 to 5
move it down.
throws per night.
So yeah, I don't recall exactly how much it costed me. Maybe it's in my mail. See, what's the actual price of this game?
Hello, 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 hello.
Dr. Glenn Pierce, this is clearly intentional.
Why do I feel like everything is going wrong?
Noted, Dr. Pierce.
Hello, hello, hello.
Warning, this
Yeah,
is extremely
it's 16 euros and 80 cents. It's not a super expensive game, like 16 euros, less than 17 euros. It's not expensive, but for 3 hours and a half of playthrough, is it takes more to justify that. It's not enough playing hours for me to recommend the game for that.
My name,
In a perspective of
and I'd like to thank you
quality to
This is
price
respectful.
ratio.
because you saw things from every angle.
But yeah, I mean, I don't regret it. It's nice. It's just that, I don't know.
Congratulations.
You're now headed in the right direction.
They could have made something with those mechanics. I don't know, be more freeform or I don't know, less guided, so the player could enjoy more in a bit more open world. So you can spend more hours. I don't know, something to increase the playtime. So it feels that now, once you completed the game, what you have left? You have the extra modes, which is the commentary. Workshop, I guess, is to build levels. Yes, that's to build stuff. So the extra modes is the commentary that we just saw, and the challenge mode probably is for time. Yeah, I think they are random, the loading bars, because I didn't saw this one either. So yeah, I think, let's see quickly if it records the time or something. I guess that's challenge mode, should be timed. Link it in case it's needed. Yes, put it in there. Oh yeah, and those things that you cannot grab, they are turned into the ground. That was also nice. Three, two. Okay, see you. I'm going to finish the stream really soon anyway. Well, I hope you enjoyed the game. Oh, you have limits on jumps. Ah, you enter the... Ah. Ah, so you have to do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And I need to jump again. Ah, Well, this is interesting. 1, 2, 3. Now jump. Oh, it's difficult, yeah. Yeah, and I did it wrong. Huh. Maybe I picked a too difficult level. Huh. Okay, that's enough. Okay, yeah. So that was the game. Hope you liked it. I don't think I will be playing it anymore. That will be around 7 hours me playing on that first playthrough and then the commentary, and that will be all for this game. Has been nice. Hope you enjoyed it as well, and see you in another stream. Bye.